In this video, I'm going to show how to use an MMO mouse to play video games just using one hand. An MMO mouse is a mouse that combines both keyboard keys and mouse controls, which can allow someone to play and access all the keyboard keys and mouse controls they need just using one hand. This MMO mouse has 12 buttons on the side and multiple buttons on the surface as well. Some MMO mice have more or less buttons. They can come with 8, 12, and even up to 16 buttons on the side, allowing you to program a lot of different keyboard keys into the side of the mouse controller. For playing a game that requires both player movement and camera movement, the WASD keys, which are typically used for player movement, can be programmed in and controlled using the side of the mouse controller. Then for camera movement, the user can move the mouse on a surface to control camera movement in the game. Therefore, this will allow you to access both player movement and camera movement in the game simultaneously with one hand. Then the remainder of the buttons you need to play can be mapped to the side of the controller on the other buttons. Most MMO mice come in a right-handed version. However, Razer Naga also sells a left-handed MMO mouse as well. This one is from the company Red Dragon, which typically sells more affordable and cheaper MMO mice that can be used for one-handed gaming. By default, MMO mice can be used on a computer to play video games, since it uses keyboard and mouse controls. However, it can also be used on a gaming console if you use an adapter like the Zim Matrix. In this video, I'll show how to set up an MMO mouse and program it to play a one-handed video game. And I will also show how to use the Zim Matrix to map the MMO mouse to play on a gaming console. To remap the controls on your MMO mouse, it'll depend on which specific mouse you have and which software you're using. For the Red Dragon mouse that I have, this is what the software looks like to remap the buttons on my mouse. Here you can see I can click on which button I want to remap, and it'll allow me to choose different options to remap this button. The most important thing you want to do if you're wanting to use this mouse as a one-handed controller for a first-person shooter game is you want to be able to map the WASD keys on the mouse, as this will allow you to control player movement with the mouse, and then moving the mouse will allow you to control camera movement. Therefore, you can control both player movement and camera movement just using one hand. Here I have it programmed so the 1, 2, 3, and 5 keys are the WASD keys on the keyboard. Then, to remap the rest of the buttons, I simply click on them. And it really depends on which game I'm playing, but here I can click on the 7 button if I want to remap it. And then I can click the scroll down here. And then I have a couple different options I can choose from between mouse controls or keyboard controls. If I want to do a specific key on my keyboard, I click on key combination, and I can click a single keyboard key if I want to map it to a single keyboard press, or I can do a combination as well. Typically for first-person shooter games, I keep the left and right click as left and right click, as this allows me to control aiming and shooting. The 16 button here I typically program to the jump button or the space bar, as this is easiest to access when pressing the 2 button, which is the walk forward button in the game. Therefore, it's easy to both walk forward and jump in the game, which is typically needed for first-person shooter games. Like I said, the rest of the buttons will really depend on what specific game that you want to play. You can also control the speed at which the mouse moves or the sensitivity of the mouse. You can also control and program in macros, which are different keyboard press combinations if you're playing a game that requires different combinations of keyboard presses when you're playing. You can also control the colors of the mouse as well. Once I have everything programmed, I click apply and it'll program my mouse. And now I'm ready to play. In the next part of the video, I'm going to show how to set up this mouse with the Zim Matrix to allow me to play on a console and map the controls to console controls to allow me to play using this mouse on an Xbox. If you want to play using your MMO mouse on a gaming console, you're going to need to use an adapter like the Zim Matrix. The Zim Matrix allows you to plug in your MMO mouse, and it will convert all of your keyboard and mouse controls into joystick and button controls on your gaming console, and it's compatible with the PlayStation and the Xbox. Here I have my input as my MMO mouse, which has both mouse and keyboard controls, and my output as my gaming console for my Xbox. Here I'm going to show my different mappings and settings for my profile that I've created for Fortnite on my Xbox. Here you can change the sensitivity of the camera movement in the game. I have it set fairly sensitive because I want to make it so when I even do little movements, it will allow me to move my camera fairly quickly in the game while I'm aiming. This is specifically for hip aim, so this is when I'm not aiming down my sight. You can also change the sensitivity when you're aiming down your sight in the game as well, or when you're holding down the aim button. And here I have the sensitivity set to about the same, at a fairly sensitive level. And then finally, I can also map the buttons from the mouse and keyboard controls I have on my MMO mouse into different button controls or joystick controls in the game. Here I have my left mouse button programmed as my right trigger, which is shoot, and my right mouse button programmed as my left trigger, which is aim. And as you can see here, I have button mappings for every single button on the controller. If you want to change the button mappings, say you want to change what is mapped to the B button, you can either click on the keyboard key or mouse control you have programmed, and then remap it to whatever mouse or keyboard key you want, which is programmed on your MMO mouse. If you want to change the button that it activates, you can click on the button, and here you can select the button you want to change as well. You can also change how it activates as well, and other different button functions which might be helpful in the game. In the next part of the video, I'm going to show how I can use my MMO mouse to play Fortnite on my Xbox using the Zim Matrix with one hand. As you can see in this video, I'm able to move forward by pressing the 2 button on my controller to walk forward, left and right, by pressing the 1 and 3 buttons, and then backwards as well. This allows me to control player movement, and then by moving the mouse on the surface, it'll allow me to control camera movement as well. I also programmed a button so it can toggle me run forward, so I don't have to press any button at all on my mouse, and my player will just walk forward while I move my mouse around to move my camera. And all my other controls are programmed in as well, so I can access any button I need in order to play.